Good morning, welcome to the Mono Electric run on the RetroBrown channel in the month of RetroBrown. So yeah, let's get on with this. I honestly don't know how easy this one's going to actually be, because Electric's really not very good in Gen 1, and I'm not saying by the actual moves, I mean the Pokemon themselves. It's not really a standout player really, apart from the likes of the legendaries of Zapdos. So yeah, let's see how we do. I'm not even sure the mascot's going to save us here, but this early game is definitely going to be a struggle. So who are we going to actually start off with? Now, I pondered over this for quite a while, and out of all the choices, it actually made sense to start with Voltorb. And that comes down to just one move. Karioska, you are going to be our Voltorb for this video. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, there's two moves that Voltorb starts off with. And it's one of those two moves that actually makes me feel like this is possible, and that is the move Screech. Now, when we did the Voltorb only run, we actually managed to do it around about the level cap just with Voltorb on its own. And that was purely down to the fact that we had Screech. I mean, it was a struggle, don't get me wrong, but it was still very much possible. Now, in Viridian Forest, we actually can pick up our second team member, and of course that is going to be the mascot of the Pokemon series itself, Pikachu. And again, early game, not going to be very useful. Neither of these Pokemon are going to be massively great against Brock. Pockpicker is going to be our Pikachu for today. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. So yeah, we are going to have to do a little bit of preparation before we go against Brock. And the main thing about that is, Pikachu doesn't actually get any moves that can hit his Pokemon before the level cap. In Pokemon Yellow, it gets quick attack level 15. But yeah, in Red and Blue, you don't get anything till a little bit later on. So we need to get rid of all of our PP, get up as many levels as we can, like go as close to that level cap as we possibly can. And only from there, with having Pikachu use Struggle and Voltorb using Screech and Tackle, have we actually got a chance to beat Brock. That's what we'll soon find out. Now I'm just going to go against the rival here, and from here we can just get a little bit more experience for actually going against Brock, because yeah, Brock is going to be a bit of a challenge here. We can beat the rival pretty quickly here, but you know what? The Light Years trainer in the gym is really difficult, even at the level cap with these two Pokemon. Is Diglett only knows Scratch, which means that that's all he's going to do, and you're against the clock. The Sandshrew throws up sand attacks, and yeah, I actually opted to just reset in that fight and go straight for Brock. We didn't want to go against the Light Years trainer. Now, when it comes to the Geodude against the Voltorb, we're actually hoping that he just goes for the Defense Curls, because even though Defense Curl increases his defense, it only does it by one stage. We can decrease it by 2 stages with Screech, so we can keep above that a lot easier than he can. So yeah, we want to make sure that we actually keep in front of that Geodude. But in this attempt, he uses way too many tackles, and we have to go into Pockpicker early. And yeah, even with a few PP on Growl, this was just not going to be possible. So we're going to reset here and try again, and make sure we go into that fight with Pikachu having no PP whatsoever. Maybe a few on Growl, just because it's always worth to reduce attack down a bit. Especially when the Onix, when that comes out, actually does no tackle and it does no Screech itself. Yeah, we might as well give ourselves the best chance by having a few PP to work with. Ideally, we need to get through this Geodude without taking much damage whatsoever. Using a few Growls on that Geodude at the start definitely helps us out. So from here, it's doing less damage to us. We can get more Screeches out, and we get into the Onix at 18 HP. We level up our Pikachu to level 15 as well, so we switch into it, and from here we'll set up our remaining Growls, and from here just try and whittle out the amount of bites there. And yeah, this is where I realised I hadn't actually got rid of all the PP going into this fight, so we needed to get rid of all of that before we then even attempted to use Struggle against the Onix. But as soon as we got rid of all of that PP, thankfully he doesn't go for many tackles or Screeches, but the Screeches that he has used have really damaged our Pikachu, and we do need it to use Struggle in order to deal out some damage. We can then switch into Karioska. I'm not, honestly, I don't know how to pronounce that, if I'm being honest. It's not common English, but either way. If you're in the comments on this video, please give me a pronunciation guide for your name. That would be very much appreciated for when I'm making the rival or a Pokemon on future videos. So, when we finally got onto the Onix, we brought out Voltorb. We've screeched it into the ground. We've got 8 HP to work with. Now, I actually used the Pikachu here as a bit of a battering ram because we lost. That was really hard worked and we still managed to lose even at the level cap. Let's try this one more time. Brock is a really hard fight for this type. The fact that we cannot do anything against his Geodude or his Onix with that Pikachu until we've got Struggle, it's really annoying because it's technically, well, it's not technically, it's more, it feels like going into this fight with just 1.5 Pokemon. That half being the Pikachu right now. In early game, electric types are just not good in Gen 1. They really struggle a lot. And if I didn't start with a Voltorb, the first Pokemon that's electric type in the Pokedex is Pikachu. And it just would not be able to do this at the level cap going into this. I think that's, you know, actually, I'm thinking about it, I think Chaotic Meatball has actually managed to do this at the level cap with a Pikachu, but I'm not 100% sure that. I'll have to go back to his video and have a look. If you really want a good channel to have a watch of Chaotic Meatball. He's done hardcore Nuzlocke over pretty much every generation with pretty much every type. It's still got his chart that he's working through. It's a great channel to go, so go and check it out. It's very, very enjoyable. Anyway, back to this fight. We've got a lot better luck on our side here, and actually it's the Pikachu that gets us the win with Struggle. So now we've beaten Brock, we've got the first gym badge, the level cap goes up to level 21. We can move our way through Mount Moon, and we are going to pick up Mega Punch in Mount Moon because you can actually teach that to a Pikachu. Yeah, Pikachu can learn Mega Punch, and if it's not Pikachu, then it will be the Raichu. That brings us through to the later half of Mount Moon, and there's no reason for us to pick up Moonstones here, so we'll just get our experience against the trainers and move straight on through to Cerulean, where we should have a much better matchup against the gym leader. Misty with her water types should go down in a very quick fight to our electric types, but there's another big problem here. We only have the move Thundershock. There's an electric type damaging move for both Voltorb and Pikachu. In fact, Voltorb only has Tackle and Screech still. It's going to be a while before it learns Sonic Boom, which would be a fantastic move to have, especially in that Brock battle, but we don't start off with it, which is really annoying. And the Super Nerd becomes extremely annoying as well because he decides to disable our moves. Now, in all of my runs where I've actually had to use Disable, it is hands down one of the worst moves in this generation. It is hands down bad. It's 55% accuracy. So why the hell would you even decide to use it? It's so bad. I can't even stress how bad it is. Anyway, let's move through to Cerulean and see how the fight against Misty goes. We're going to start off with Karioskia, and we are going to try and screech it down to the ground before tackling it down. And annoyingly, that doesn't work in our favour, leaving us with our level 17 Pikachu to try and take on both a Staryu and a Starmie. And that's how much damage we do with Thundershock. We're not in a great position here. In all honesty, let's go see how we do against Sailor Emma, who is our rival for today. I forgot to mention that right at the start. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate all your comments on every video. Some great conversations we've been having recently. And yeah, let's see how you do. It's the electric mono rival. The rival fight here is not too bad really whatsoever. The Voltorb can pretty much screech its way through and then tackle down where we need to. Annoyingly, the Rattata does get a quick attack in, and it's down to 1 HP against the Bulbasaur. So I think this is going to be a loss unless the Bulbasaur just completely flakes it there. He went through a Growl and then Leech Seed, giving us 3 openings to get Mega Punches in. You can just see me standing there. I was like, did that just happen? And yes, it did. Yes, it really did. Let's go back to the Misty fight. And at level 17, Voltorb has learnt Sonic Boom, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We can get some good damage off on the Starmie before going in with Pikachu to clear up And even at 2 HP, if we had not got that paralysis on the Starmie, we would have lost there. But thankfully, Pikachu pulls through, was the mascot of the Game Freak, of Nintendo, of Pokemon, of everything. And Pikachu was just everywhere. He pulls through, and you might as well call this Ash because, yeah, Pikachu starts to become useful in every fight from here on. Just from having Thunder Shock, just from having Mega Punch, and as soon as we can go through to Vermilion and beat the crap out of Surge and demote him again, we will get an even better move in Thunderbolt. But I've also got to think, there is only one Thunderbolt TM in this entire game. And Voltorb and Magnemite can't learn it via level up. I think it's only in Pokemon Yellow that Pikachu learns it via level up. I'll have to double check that. But either way, we have got limited use of such a good move, but later on we actually can get the TM for Thunder, which would be even better. But I'm pretty sure all three of them can learn it at some point apart from the Voltorb line. Because, if I remember rightly, Voltorb only learns normal type moves in its entire level up moveset. It can learn electric type moves when it's, you know, given TMs, but other than that, yeah, really bad moveset. So what we're going to do with the Voltorb moving forward? Well, it does get self-destruct, so we can use it as a nuke. That might be the best way to go about Voltorb in the later game. And it actually makes sense to keep it with Sonic Boom for quite a while. We do lose against Sailor Emma here on the SSN, because, to be honest, I was not paying attention and I went into this fight paralysed. Yeah, Electric-type Pokemon, paralysed. That's why Body Slam is such an annoying move. Karioska, though, is gonna deal with this on his own, because Pikachu goes down to the Raticate, and Self-Destruct gets disabled, meaning we can't one-shot here anyway. I mean, it would be a loss for us here if we did do that, because if we Self-Destruct on the last Electric-type Pokemon, then yeah, we have to reset. We managed to beat Sailor Emma again, though, and we can move on to Surge. Now, this should be a decently easy fight. We're very quick as Electric-type Pokemon, and we've got some pretty good moves that we've started to pick up. We've picked up Body Slam, we've picked up Seismic Toss, we've got rid of Mega Punch, we do have Sonic Boom if we really need it, but Pikachu is just great for this gym. Like, you've seen that. At level 23 Pikachu just soloed Surge on its own. This is Ash's Pikachu, I've got to say, because he beat that gym all on his own. Granted, it was only against one other Pokemon, but still, he beat his evolution. Now this brings us to Rock Tunnel and the Exploding Hiker, and Pikachu learning Seismic Toss is genuinely fantastic. I mean, can you imagine a little Pikachu suplexing a big rock Pokemon like Graveler? That'd be hilarious to see if someone can animate that for me. Either way, that brings us to Lavender Town and the subsequent rival fight in Lavender Tower. We've taught Thunderbolt to our Voltorb, and from here, he goes on his sweep. He just destroys the entire team. We've taken barely any damage before really getting to the Ivysaur. And you know what? Considering we swept that fight, we self-destructed for the win. So Pikachu got no experience, but still was the only Pokemon left to fight. That brings us to Celadon City and the Underground here. Now you might be wondering, why am I showing you this clip here? Well, basically there is a hidden elixir that is on the very bottom row when you just kind of nudge along and then just keep mashing A. And elixirs are very, very good when you get to the Elite Four. That's what I pretty much save all of my elixirs for, because the Elite Four is a gauntlet. There is no healing stations in between, so you have to use your items to get through it. And I like that. I don't like in the later generations where you can pick and choose, and then, yeah, I just like the gauntlet aspect of it, where you can't go out and heal in between. You've got to use your items. In Erica's gym, we use our Thunderstone and we get our first evolution of video with Raichu. And from here, Raichu sweeps Erica. Body Slam is a great move to have, and he takes out Victory Bell in 2 hits before the level cap. I'm going to switch into our Voltorb, who is asleep going into this fight because of the Execute Trainer on the left of Erica. So we tried to wake it up, but it didn't work, but we managed to get through to the Vileplume, and 2 body slams will get us, 3 body slams will get us the win. Either way, 4 badges, level cap has come to level 43, and from here we can start looking at the rest of this game. Now the Voltorb will evolve quite soon, but it won't evolve just yet. We've also got to think about our 3rd team member, and also we will not be picking up Jolteon for this video. My rule set for these monotype runs are every Pokemon you catch has to also begin at the type of that you're doing this run with. Eevee does not start as an electric type, it starts as a normal type, meaning I cannot use Jolteon in this video. If we could pick up a wild Jolteon, that would be different, but yeah, we can't. We have to evolve it through the Eevee, meaning we cannot get Jolteon. We are dealing with only 3 Pokemon that we can catch. Well, it would be 4 if I also allowed legendaries as well, but we are not allowing legendaries. That leaves us with just 3 Pokemon lines to work with. And we pretty much nearly lost against Giovanni there. It's a good thing our Electrode is fast and can get Sonic Boom in. So when we go back to Lavender Tower, we've also got more that we can explore. There's 2 elixirs in Lavender Tower as well. I will show that in a later video. There's one that you can normally pick up just after a Chandler, and then one just up the stairs below it. Karioskia just sweeps through all of these rockets. We save Mr. Fuji, who doesn't seem happy about that whatsoever. So he throws a musical instrument at us. So we go wake up a Snorlax and then head down to Fuchsia City. We also make sure that we steal a bike from the bike guards. And yeah, we're starting to become as bad as Team Rocket here. Either way, let's go into the Safari Zone because we want to get the HM Surf. Now the reason why we want this HM right now before going to any other gyms and taking them on is because we need to go back to the power plant. And I also realised when I got to this point, you also need a certain badge to be able to surf. So the Krabby that we found, yeah, we cannot actually use it because we haven't got the badge at Fuchsia City. So it's time to go against Koga, and I was hoping we'd actually have our 3rd Pokemon for this fight, but we actually won't. So 2 against 4, here we go. We're going to go with the Thunderbolts on our Electrode, and Muck will go down to 2 Thunderbolts as well. We do get poisoned by the Sludge. That brings us into the 3rd Coffin, and it's pretty much, we're just going to go for the self-destruct. I wish that had done more damage, if I'm being honest, because it doesn't look like we're going to do very much damage with our Raichu on the Weezing, and we take a loss. Yeah, Thundershock is not a good move. I really shouldn't have blown myself up. Let's go try this again. We are level 34 here, so we are 9 levels below the level cap here. So that brings us... God, this Electrode is really good. Thunderbolt and Electrode is a great move, and it's just swept Koga with better luck. So now we've got the badge, we can go down to the power plant, and the reason why I want to go down to the power plant is to get our 3rd Pokemon for this run. Now you might be wondering, what's that Pokemon? Well, unfortunately it is not going to be Electabuzz. We are in Pokemon Blue, and Electabuzz is a Pokemon Red exclusive. So we have to catch Magnemite instead. Which, Gen 1 Magnemite is the worst incantation of Magnemite. But Cutie Shoot is going to prove us wrong here. Reason why it is not as good as in other generations is purely down to the fact that Magnemite does not have the Steel type. It is a pure mono electric type in this generation. And it evolves quite early, so at the level cap we're at now, we can have our full team. Now I also have a look at Zapdos while I'm here, who is the legendary electric-type bird, and I decide, no, I am not going to sully the challenge of this video. Cutie Shoot, who has now picked up the TM for Thunder, will nearly one-shot Zapdos before we get our Raichu out and we take down the electric legendary bird. Now I actually feel really... it feels wrong doing that in electric type mono run, but this run would just become way too easy if I decide to pick up a legendary bird. Considering, for one, Zapdos is one of my quickest solo runs to date. I think in actuality it is my 2nd or my 3rd quickest run to date. So yeah, we are not going to use legendaries. That brings us to Silph Co, because the 6th gym leader is going to be Sabrina, and to face her you need to beat Silph Co. Our electric types are actually matching up pretty good against the rival here. Majority of his Pokemon are weak to electric type moves. You've got your Pidgeot, the Gyarados. Yeah, he's actually got quite a lot of Pokemon, maybe nearly half his team, that are weak to electric type moves. And we don't have much variation. That is another bad thing about electric types in this generation. They do not have much variation in their TM movesets. You get the likes of Rest, Reflect, and Light Screen that you can learn, but you can't learn Psychic on any of these 3 Pokemon. You can learn Seismic Toss, and that's a fighting type move for Raichu. But other than that, we've either got normal type moves, or we've got electric type moves to work with, which is not great for variation. And especially when you've got to think, Giovanni is the 8th gym leader. So it's a good thing that we have Seismic Toss, otherwise I don't know how we would get past him without great troubles with Sonic Boom. We managed to beat him quite easily here at Silph Co though, even though most of our Pokemon go down to the Nidoqueen. But as soon as we get paralysed, it's self-destruct for the win, baby. That brings us to Sabrina. So we want that 6th gym badge so we can increase that level cap again. And we're going straight into this with Magneton. Magneton, it's not bad. I honestly thought it was a lot quicker than it actually is, but because if you look at Magnemite and Magneton's speed stat, it's honestly not very fast. It's the slowest member of my entire team here. Raichu is pretty decently fast, and Electrode is the fastest Pokemon in Gen 1 at like 140 base speed. Or is it 130? One of the two. Either way, when we get to the final Alakazam, we self-destruct for the win. I promise this is not going to be every fight from now on, but it's still funny nonetheless to see that Electrode and using self-destruct strategically. Because with doing a solo run, I actually can't self-destruct because that means it's a loss for us. This brings us to Blaine's gym over on Cinnabar Island. And from here, we're just going to go against as many of these trainers to try and get as much experience as we can, because after this gym, we only have the Elite Four and Giovanni to contend with. So we're going to the Giovanni fight. We take down the majority of his Pokemon pretty quickly. We have pretty much made our Raichu into a physical powerhouse. We've stuffed it full of protein, we've put Double Edge and Body Slam on it on the moveset, we've put Karioskia on a special diet, and we tried to increase the amount of speed that we've put into our Magneton. So we get down to very low HP, but we still manage to take a win with Thunderbolt. This is why Thunderbolt is so much better than Thunder. It's the accuracy. 90 base power, 100% accuracy, electric type move, yeah, great move to have. This brings us to Giovanni, and we are getting close to the final stages of this game. Our team are around about that level 43 to level 44 mark. And yeah, we're going against the ground type gym, so we've got a big problem to contend with here. We need to outspeed. And, oh, God's sake. Can I tank a dig? We can tank one dig from the Doug trio, so that was very scary if I'm being honest. But we've only got Cutie Shoot to work with, and yeah. Sonic Boom is our only move that can hit any of his Pokemon here. So this might be a loss. And we might need to rethink how we go about this fight. Yep, there's the loss. Yeah. We need more normal type moves here. Oh well, let's try this again. So we need better luck against this Rhyhorn. We need to take it out with Seismic Tosses before we even get to the Doug trio. We get a lucky Body Slam crit on the Doug trio, meaning we don't take much damage from Dig. In fact, we don't take any damage at all, but either way, our Raichu goes crazy, getting itself all the way to the Rhydon before starting to Seismic Toss and literally suplexes this Rhydon all over the gym. Raichu takes the win, and we move on to the Elite Four. But before the Elite Four, of course, we always have the Rivals fight on the west of Viridian. And this is a difficult fight. It really is a difficult fight. You've got pretty much just anything after Silph Co, the rival starts to become a real problem. Now, you can see the strategy we are going for here. Cutie Shoot has got Toxic, We've got Thunder on it so it can hit hard. And it's got Thunder Shock as a very weak backup move. And Sonic Boom in case we've got no other options. Now, Cutie Shoot really does well here, but the big problem is Venusaur cannot be hit super effectively by any move that we have in our arsenal. That's the main reason why I chose it over Wartortle and, after Squirtle and Charmander. When it gets to a Charizard, it is flying type, so it's weak to electric types, and when it's a water type, of course, it's the main weakness of the water type, the electric. So, Venusaur is the obvious rival Pokemon that we chose, and with that win, we bring ourselves to the Elite Four. First up is Lorelei, and for once, I am not worried about this fight whatsoever. Our electric types will sweep through this entire fight extremely easily, even the Slowbro. It can tank one hit, but we are about 10 levels less than them. The biggest problem is the Jinx, considering nothing we do is super effective against it. So we gotta hope that we can get through to Lapras, hit a Thunder, and not get taken down by a Blizzard. And there we go. Cutie Shoot has got us the win. We did take a loss with Electrode though, but either way, Magneton got us the win. Now, strangely, I am actually scared for this Bruno fight. He's got Rock-type Pokemon, he's got Fighting-type Pokemon. We've got nothing that's super effective here. So, we're just going to pivot through some of our Pokemon, and we're going to use the more powerful Electric-type moves to do as much damage as we can. Because his special types, well, his special is pretty weak on all his Pokemon. I probably should have learnt Swift there, because at least it always hits. As soon as he brings in his Onyxes, we go back into Raichu and we Seismic Toss through. That just leaves the Machamp, and of course we're going to Body Slam, but then we get taken out with Submission. Brings us into Cutie Shoot, who also of course can get the win with Thunder. So that's 2 Elite Four members down, and now we've got the second most annoying Elite Four member here. So we can hit her with Electric type moves, we can hit her with Seismic Toss. So that was pretty much my strategy. We're going to Thunder Wave them so they can be paralysed, and from there they've got less chances to hit. But annoyingly we get Confused Raid by the Golbat. We then paralyse it, and then Double Edge takes it down. With 24 HP, we need to take out this Gengar, and it keeps using Nightshade and it keeps using Soup Potions. It's cheesy as hell. That brings us into Karioska, and from here we get confused again. I hate confusion, it's so annoying. We get Nightshaded down, but thankfully we outspeed, and then we go into Warbok. We've only got one Pokemon left of this Gengar, and annoyingly we can't even self-destruct to get through this fight. Because it's Ghost type and it's a normal type move, and yeah. Either way, we still take a first time win and move on to Lance. Just 2 fights left before we are crowned the champion, with a very underleveled Electric type team, if I'm being completely honest here. So, we're going to start off and paralyse that Gyarados, but you know what? Wrong strategy to start off with. Really the wrong strategy. I really should have been starting off with Magneton or Volto, or the Electrode here, just because Gyarados is 4 times weak to Electric type attacks, and I didn't have one on my Raichu. Yeah. So now we've got to struggle against all the rest of these dragons. And of course, take a loss. Let's try that again. First up is Gyarados. We've gone with Electrode here to get a very quick win, and from here we will then switch back into our Raichu. We're going to go for the Body Slams here, hopefully. That still didn't work in our favour. Okay, new plan. Toxic. Oh my god, Hyper Beams are coming from everywhere right now. Thankfully, Sonic Boom actually gets a win here. Toxic the next Dragonair, and hopefully we do not get taken down by another Hyper Beam. But the Toxic just does its damage. We use Sonic Boom. He gets. Oh, this fight became really, really tedious. Cutie Shoot finally gets taken down, and it is all up to Karioska. We Thunderbolt our way through, and that brings us to the Dragonite. Now, if we get Hyper Beamed here, we will lose, which is what happens. So what can we do differently here? Well, we need to save Raichu for later in the fight. I'm going to Thunderbolt the Gyarados again. 3rd time try here, by the way. And yeah, that Hyper Beam is just doing so much damage. He even gets a little slam off before we go into the second Dragonair. Now I am going to switch to our Raichu here. We need to get it down as quick as possible, and Body Slam should take 3 hits to take down that Dragonair. That brings us into the Aerodactyl, and from here, Hyper Beam does take us out. And because he took us out with the Hyper Beam means there's no recharge turn. But we also have 2 Pokemon to work with now for the Dragonite. We have gone up to level 48 here, and yeah, Magneton gets us the win of all the Pokemon on the team. That brings us to the final rival, Sailor Emma. Here we go, final fight. We are not even level 50 going into this one with 3 Electric-type Pokemon. So this is... I'm not sure how we'll do here. We take out the Pidgeot with not too much problem whatsoever. It is one of the easier Pokemon for this team to deal with. But the Alakazam is a big problem. It critical hits our Raichu, meaning we've got 2 Pokemon to work with here. And I'm already thinking at this stage, this might be a loss attempt. We don't have Recover, and Thunder just isn't very reliable with hitting. We use Toxic to just try and do something against this Rhydon, because with Raichu down, we don't have Seismic Toss, and we have to rely on the 20 power move, Sonic Boom, to try and beat down this Rhydon. We do manage to get through, and that brings us through to the Gyarados, who goes down to a Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt also does a critical hit on Arcanine, and because of our ridiculous base speed, we do get a lot of critical hits. Now, there is no point in me actually using Explosion here, but we've got one chance to try and beat this Venusaur. Razor Leaf does tons of damage, and then he sets up his growths, and this is starting to look bad. He is just going for growths, he is going for... yeah, Solar Beam gets the win. Let's try that again. We are so close, and because we are so close to beating that Venusaur, I believe it's possible at the level we're at. Let's see how we do. Pidgeot goes down to Thunderbolts. Easy start. We're going to try and get 1 or 2 Thunderbolts off before we switch here, or at least try... Wow, he is eating up our PP for Thunderbolt. Alakazam is very cheesy, but we didn't get hit by too many big moves. That brings us into where we can actually utilise Cutie Shoot here. So Fury Attack is just going to chip away at us. It is an annoying move, but we do get the Toxic off before moving into using Sonic Boom and just getting the win on the Rhydon from Chip. His Rhydon is hands down one of the worst Pokemon on his team. Like, it's just awful. That brings us to Cutie Shoot on 7 HP. It managed to get a big Thunder off taken out, the big Arcanine, and now we just need to do as much damage with it as we can, because this Venusaur is setting up its growths. And yeah, it takes out Magneton. I have to go for Sonic Booms, and if I get on low HP, we don't even get a chance to use a self-destruct, so it is all down to Raichu. We Thunder Wave and get it paralysed before using Seismic Toss, and we just get so lucky with the paralysis, and for some reason all the Venusaur does is go for growth, giving us the opportunity to get the attacks in and get the win. Our Monotype team of 3 electric types have beaten Gen 1, and we have taken the Hall of Fame crown. That was a difficult run. A really difficult run. That is probably hands down the hardest Monotype run that we have done so far. Like, even more so, probably just probably about as much as the Rock type video right at the start of these Monotype runs. Yeah, it was difficult. But we only have 3 types left to do, and the next one is going to be the Fire type. Wow, that's again going to be difficult, but at least we have a starter Pokemon that we can utilise. If you got to this point, smash that like and subscribe, you guys. Really appreciate it, and we'll catch you tomorrow with the next video. Take care.